Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, day 4 of our Pan Canadian Advent calendar. The hype is sky high. We are pretty darn excited. Mira Boucher, happy Wednesday. How's it going?
Carl Boucher, it's going really well. People have been bugging me that we haven't decorated our tree yet. So slowly, our children have started to put things on the tree. Look, there's like one little lonely decoration in the corner. 2, 3, see? Starting to happen. It's starting to happen. But
that's starting to even put something on my head too. So yeah.
Yeah, I have to find my Santa hat, and then we'll be way more holiday-ish. But I mean, the real celebration that's been happening these nights is that we get to open a different Canadian wine every night. And a lot of you guys have some of these wines and you're opening them with us. So it's been a hell of a lot of fun. Thank you so much, you guys. So we're on night 4 of a nightly Canadian wine reveal. And then we have the winemaker already in the green room to chat with us about that wine and that winery. It's going to be so much fun.
That's going to be a heck of a night. And you know what? I cannot remember the last time that we drummed up a hype like that. Today, and okay, let's say from mid-show last night all the way to mid-afternoon, we must have had 100 text message on our private trail. People are losing their mind. They try to figure out what we're gonna have today. And I guess now by 8 o'clock Eastern time and 5 o'clock here, people have already unwrapped their bottle. And they're probably like, fuck you, Carl. Because it was so much fun to see all of these guesses.
Here's what stumped everybody, right? So we did let it everyone knew it's a white because Carl put in the instructions. I don't have the sheet here, but we said, serving suggestion for temperature. And this was a, slightly chilled. What'd you say, Carl? Slightly chilled wine?
Yeah, I said not too cold, but slightly chilled. I didn't want to overkill that one.
Tracy, I lost my hat. I definitely had one like a week ago. I'm going to have to get another one.
You should look under the bed.
So we knew it's a white wine. We then also said pairing suggestion, and you said butter poached scallops, right?
Yeah.
And then we also said it's really exciting because it's an older vintage. So then everyone's saying has to be.
And I know before that I said it's probably the centerpiece of that Advent calendar. So now people went bananas. They all said, oh, if Carl said that, it's a Chardonnay, right? And
you were so excited. Everyone knows you love Chardonnay, so but then we're like, nope, it's not a Chardonnay. So then people are guessing Riesling, but it's not a Riesling. Then people are guessing Chenin Blanc, but it's not a Chenin Blanc.
Hey, that can be all of the above too, right?
But maybe it's all maybe it's all of the above.
So much fun. So much fun.
Oh, the corks were breaking. I mean, this tells you how old this wine is, which is exciting. Hopefully you were able to still open them without too
it's all
craziness.
That's always
we'll get
fun.
Carl to open the cork, see if it breaks for him too.
Yeah, we'll
there's
see.
A special little tool too that slips in and pulls it out on the side.
Yeah, but that happened when you have almost a 20-year-old wine. So I'm sure pretty much everyone around with their cork broke were able to save it. This part of the experience. It's part of the experience to taste a 20-year-old white wine.
Woohoo!
So let's recap. Day 4 of our Pan Canadian Advent calendar. So first and foremost, we started in the Okanagan Valley in Okanagan Falls with one of the greatest sparkling wine, the traditional method, Grand Reserve, the one by Noble Ridge that I gave 93 plus points. Beautiful, beautiful, sophisticated and sparkling, all in finesse. Wine number 2, we went from the Okanagan Falls region all the way to the Beamsville Bench in Niagara, and we had the unreleased 2020 Cabernet Franc from the Secret Series at organized crime. This wine, I would say, very classic 2020 Niagara. Lots of extraction, beautiful characteristic of Cap Franc, very pure to the varietal. So there was awesome, awesome. And yesterday, day number 3, we went back all the way back to BC in Oliver, the wine capital of Canada, and we had a Riverstone 2018 Malbec. So that was for wine number 3. Dark, ready to drink. But what was the highlight of our wine yesterday, Mira? What?
Texture.
Texture. You got it. You
Texture.
got it. Texture. So here is the recap. For our first 3 days, now jumping into day 4. We're going to a white wine, and yeah, here we are. I mean,
So Jennifer has got scallops, butter poached them. She did her tasting research already this afternoon. She's fully ready for the chat. So I'm loving
holy
it. You're
smoke!
so disciplined.
Someone
I
did
love
my
it.
whole recipe. That is really fun.
The pairing. Yeah, I know, right?
That is
Um,
freaking fantastic. So, hey, okay, I would like for people who
ooh,
are tuning in right
goodness.
now, please put your name in the chat, and please let us know from where you're tuning in. So, for the group here, for people to know where you're coming from, that will be awesome. And
We're hearing you got
yeah,
the wine open, which is awesome. At least 2 people did scallops, so that's pretty cool to see. Jennifer's saying she used the Coravin needle extraction so she could save the bottles and do a side by side after I've tried them all each night. Oh my god, that is so cool. That is fun.
I really freaking love it.
This is something I was like, maybe Santa needs to bring Carl a Coravin after like 25 years with wine as his
I don't
career.
want
He's
that
never
because
owned
I don't want that. I do not, because I studied the wine for 5 nights in a row. I want to see the evolution without the cork. I want to
uh,
see I want to
yeah,
see
I'm gonna
what's
assume
happened.
if you really wanted a Coravin, somehow you would have gotten one by now, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
exactly, right?
there you go. Cochrane, Alberta, Stephen, Tanya, you guys, I heard there's a huge 100-car pileup on the way to Airdrie, so I hope nobody was out on the road trying to get home. Tracy, nice to see you. Average wine enthusiast, Jen, Jared, Lisa, chicken mushroom Alfredo, nice.
Hey Mira, I saw the
Guys, I
comments
don't know
going
what
by
this is. I
about
didn't
Black
do this.
Market.
Whatever this is. This is our streaming software. I didn't put that comment. Sorry. Um, oh, good. You guys missed the pile up on the way home. That's good because it sounds pretty bad. And Louise is on Vancouver Island. Awesome. Well, so great. Okay, so let's unwrap it and let's bring the winemaker on because another hint, it is late where he is. So here we go. Does this tell us anything yet? Does it? Does it? Oh, those of you who have opened it, even if you didn't open this part, this probably gave a lot away.
There you
So
go. So we have Stratus Vineyard from Niagara on the lake. And I said back vintage. I said almost 20 years. It is a 2007 Stratus White. I mean, when I said it was the centerpiece of the Advent calendar, I'm not lying to you. I think Suzanne and I and Mira, I've been talking about that since the summer, literally. That we've saved our wines that is going to go in the Advent calendar. So I will tell you, the level of excitement is pretty darn high right now. I'm so excited to see
yeah.
how this wine's going to behave, because we also tasted it in September, no, in November as well when we went down there.
Yes, we did. Yes, I was trying to get some pictures. Maybe after we chat with the winemaker, who is Dean Stoica. He's in the green room. Maybe I'll pull up those pictures because we also tasted some other wines from Stratus at that time that were pretty spectacular.
Including one that
Tracy
is going into my top 10
said
wine
the
of the
oh 07
year.
already. Yes, there is one going in your top 10, the first ever of its kind in the top 10. So that's pretty exciting. What is a grape in this wine? The age is amazing. Yeah, I mean, whoever thought Canadian wines can't age well? Here we have an almost 20-year-old white blend. and it is still going. It is pretty wild. So I'm going to bring this up for you, Carl. You can open it while you're starting to chat with Dean and show us your mad sommelier skills of not breaking the cork, or maybe breaking it and showing us how you fix it. So
Let's
there
bring
we
it.
go. But
Let's bring Dean in. One of my
bringing Dean,
favorite. One of my
Canadian
absolute
winemakers.
freak. Yeah, but sorry. Go ahead, Mira. One of my. Oh
Great to see.
fuck.
Oh my God, you have a hat.
There we go.
He
I heard
has
my
a
Charles is
wife
hat.
so
said, your
I
happy.
wife
mean,
said, Mira, where's
I
your
mean,
hat? And I said,
secretly, Dean absolutely know that I'm a big Ravens fan, and I'm sure he's doing it on purpose, just rubbing in it.
just telling Josh Allen, we got to have the hat for Josh. He's going to get another MVP and hopefully a Super Bowl this year.
Oh, I mean, he's one behind my Lamar Jackson. So I mean, we need. My man, how are you doing? It's great to
Oh, I'm
having you
doing
on.
great. You know what? We're just finishing harvest. We're still pressing. We have Petit Verdot still to press and a tank of Cabernet Franc. That's going to happen tomorrow and Friday before the holidays. And then we did ice wine already this year. I see everyone's comments. It's been a pretty cold winter to start already, even in southern Ontario down here. So ice wine happened on December 4th, which is kind of nice because now it's out of the way, it's fermenting, and we can not have to worry about it over the holidays, which is always a great feeling.
Is it one of the earliest date that you had for
It's
ice wine, December
from
4th?
since I've been at Stratus, this is our third earliest. We've actually had one on December 1st, and we had one on the last day of November in 2018 it was.
Holy
So it's pretty
shit.
early. It's early.
Wow.
But that's nice. It's nice to have an early
Out of the
date.
way. Out of the way. Which varietal did you do this year for ice wine?
We did Riesling and we did Cab Franc Petit Verdot that we make a red blend from.
Awesome. That's funny because that was part of that was part of the lineup that we did with Suzanne when I visited in November.
Yeah.
And talking about like my top 10 wine of the year, that the Riesling ice wine. I can't remember from which vintage, but it's
probably
definitely
2023. Might have been 22, but might have been 20. Or
yeah,
one of the
two.
24.
I need to check on my note, but this one was absolutely blew my socks off. I'm usually not something that will caught my attention, but we tasted maybe 18 wines while we were there, and that one absolutely stood out to me.
Yeah.
Incredible. Awesome. Incredible. So, hey, let's start from the very beginning. I like to start because we have some new members who are joining for the Advent calendar. Advent calendar program, which is really fun. 12 wine in 12 days. So it's really, really cool to see wines from across the country. One night you go on one side, you go back on the other side. Really, really cool. But I would like for you, Dean, to start with the story of Stratus a little bit. When you guys founded Stratus, I think it's early 2000 or late 1990 in this area. What was the goal? Because the home vineyard who was planted at that point, it's something very unique across the country with 17 varietals. Was it something part of the plan from the very beginning? Please tell us a little bit of the overview of the concept.
Yeah, absolutely. So the property was purchased in 2000. We built a winery in 2005. And there was already some vines planted from 1985. So when we purchased the property, we had some Merlot, some Chardonnay, some Cabernet Sauvignon, some Gamay, some Gewürztraminer that were originally planting in 85 and 1992. And then after that, we had a founding winemaker, J.L. Grew, who was a Loire native, went to Burgundy and Bordeaux College and University in the 80s in France, and then came to Niagara in the late 80s and worked at Trius. He started at Stratus, was a founding winemaker there, and had an idea of planting some unusual varieties really for the art of assemblage. This wine you're tasting is a blend of Chardonnay and Sauvignon Blanc, but also has Semillon, Viognier, and Riesling in there. So, some unusual varieties he planted. And that's how we sort of got going, is really just planting this eclectic, planting of varieties all over the 56-acre estate. We have 16 varieties now. Hopefully we'll end up at 20. And then it led to a great story that we have now where we're making about 40 wines a year. I see you struggling with that cork. Sorry for everyone whose corks were a little crumbly. It's one issue we have with older wines like this. But you know what? I'm going to throw a good Christmas gift plug in there for anyone who maybe has never seen this or doesn't have one. I have a special little corkscrew. Maybe it looks like you need one as well, Carl. Have you seen one of these guys before?
Oh, yeah.
There we go. See, broke off like that right there. That one at least broke, and that's usually what happens to those little corks. They kind of split halfway, mostly because the thing, there you go. You got the monopole perfect Christmas gift for that wine lover in the family who maybe doesn't have one yet. Maybe it might be a little deep in there now, so I'm not sure if you're going to get that out with the monopole, but I'll let you be the expert on doing some surgery on that cork there.
I'll let you talk, and I'll do the work here.
Those older corks, that cork is 18 years old now, and part of the issue you find that you have that in aged wines as well, depending on how they were aged. We age all these aged wines completely upside down in the bottle to keep moisture in the cork. So what you have is the cork on the top starts drying a little bit, but it's still moist on the bottom, and then you have that difference where the cork is breaking. But the monopole like that always helps because it goes around the sides rather than in the middle, and you're normally able to extract the cork all the way out. And it happens, there's no predictability of what bottle is going to be. Some people's bottles break, some bottles don't. But
it fell in.
It fell in.
It fell in. Yeah, motherfucker. It fell in. That's right.
Well, the good thing is it looks like it didn't break into a bunch of pieces, so it fell in. But maybe you're gonna.
I'll get you an Novino.
You know what?
Yeah,
there you go.
Merry Christmas. A little bit of a celebration. Happy New Year.
There you go. Look at that color. Yeah. Woohoo! And you know what? To me, mine break in 2 straight pieces, so it didn't shatter. So if you look at it, like there's a few little crumbs at the top, but like very, very little. So you know what? That works for me.
I'll bring you an Novino.
We can see it floating there in your bottle. That's perfect. It looks like you split it right.
Yeah, it's just floating there. Hey, happy. I
heard someone said they were using, Corvin or something. That's always a great great way to do it too. It's too bad they don't have Corvins where they can just pour the whole bottle.
So I'm glad it didn't happen to me because that would have been like sweating bullets. Like, oh my God, I ruined this wine. It's like it happens to a guy that's done this for like 25 plus years.
Oh, yeah,
don't worry about it. It's funny. I think most people would have something like this in a freaking shadow box on the wall. I just walked down the hall and our kids were playing with this, and it was like on the side of this is some fancy thing Carl got when he was a sommelier.
Yeah. You wear those to a nice dinner.
La chaîne des rôtisseurs. I was the youngest in Western Canada at that point, so I mean. I fell in the box at some point, and you forget about it with 3 kids and all the hockey coaching and all that. They're like, "Oh, what the fuck was that?"
So you can tell your kids. You just tell them you were a pro hockey player, and that was the medal you got.
That's it, right? That was the back in the day, right?
Yeah. You're Wayne Gretzky. You were scoring 5 goals a game.
That's it. Hey, you know what's the greatest part here? 2007. I get my nose in the glass, and there's not a hint of oxidation.
Yeah, well, 2007 was a fantastic vintage. That wine is a little bit of a, I wouldn't say departure, but, the Stratus white and red blends are changing every year. We don't have any recipe of how we make this wine. We really allow the varietals and the terroir to speak, to this full, complete wine, this art of assemblage that JL sort of coined and mentored me over years. That one's a bit unusual because it's more Sauvignon Blanc dominant than Chardonnay. And usually a well-aged wine is Chardonnay dominant. Sauvignon Blanc can age really well, as well. If you think about white Bordeaux's, their Sauvignon Blanc Semillon blends, they certainly have some ageability too. But a lot of people think, oh yeah, the Chardonnays are going to be the ones that age well when they're more Chardonnay dominant. This one is about 42% Sauvignon Blanc and 28% Chardonnay. So you have more of the Sauvignon Blanc, but it gives this amazing aromatic, and the color, like you said, you open that wine and you think 20 years old. It looks, before we jumped on the call, I said a lot of people are most shocked when they're trying to guess this wine blind. It's not obviously an easy one to guess a varietal because it's a blend of varietals. It's usually where they're way off is in the age. They're guessing, 2016, 2018, 2015, and then you pull out 2007 and you're like, wow, I can't believe how much life is in this wine. It's a great ambassador for our winery to have out there, this wine, because we, in those days and still to this day, we always keep back vintage wine at Stratus. Because when we opened our doors, a lot of, critics were sort of saying, 20-year age wine, 10-year age wine, can Niagara do it? It'll never work. It's a hope and a dream. So, Suzanne Janke, JL, grew in the very beginning, sort of decided, let's put a way back vintage wine for ourselves to release, and not just to sell one day, but to really prove to ourselves. And so once we got to 2017 and you taste that wine and you're looking at the color like, well, we're 10 years in. That's what JL always promised for the white. It was like, well, this has still got a lot of life left. And so we did a re-release in 2024, and now we're getting pretty close on that wine. It's really near the end of its sales cycle where the LCBO, which never, hasn't been a huge purchaser of aged wine from Canada before. Actually bought a pallet of that this year to sell in the LCBO. It was really unusual.
That is really cool. And I mean, like, okay, 2017 was a 10-year. Now we're almost at 20-year. And I
Yeah.
tell you, I mean, the acid level's still right up there. This wine has not starting to hit this downslope at all.
Yeah. Yeah. It keeps going. And, every 2 years, we're like, oh, it's probably going to start to fade at some point, but it's really not. So we'll still keep some, back because we're curious ourselves to see, is this a wine that can go for 30 years, 25 years? What is the life on this wine?
I mean, this is such a good question because I mean, we taste a lot of wine. We're starting to dabble, like wineries opening their cellar to us now more and more and say, hey, tell me what you think, tell me what you. So we see more and more
Age stuff.
age stuff. This is a unicorn. This wine right now, you ask me, you say, Carl, give me your opinion. I'm like, fuck, I don't know. Like, I mean, it's like 3 to 4 years, absolutely no doubt. Like,
Yeah.
there's no doubt in my mind that this wine goes at least 3 more years. But there's, if I would guess maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, at that age, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes they can hit the cliff
They
pretty
go quick
quick.
after that. Yeah.
But holy smoke, the acid's so high. The spice is lingering. There's not too many tertiary aromas and flavors yet.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the interesting thing with that wine too, that speaking to his longevity a bit, if you keep that bottle, you don't drink it tonight, you drink it tomorrow, you drink it the next day. It's not dead tomorrow. It's not dead. It's going 4 or 5 days before, the wine is showing signs of age in an open bottle, which really speaks to the wine's potential for more ageability. Usually you open a 20-year-old wine and you got an hour to drink it because it's going to just be flat in the glass and dead after that. This one doesn't do that. So it's look, I have to say we're all even shocked ourselves at Strass how well that wine does. When we made it, in 2007, I came on at Strass in 2010. I bottled that wine. No one was sitting there and, when we bottled that wine saying, oh, this is going to be a 20-year or 30-year wine. We were happy with amazing vintage of 2007. It's one of the nicest we ever had in Niagara. Back then, winemaking was totally different than it is today. I make wine in amphora nowadays, large oak format, mostly, neutral oak. That wine's 85% new oak. And
that was my next question. 85% new oak, eh?
Yeah, you would never guess that. But that was the magic of winemaking, kind of back then. When someone came into a Strass retail store in 2012 when we released that wine, the amount of new oak that was on there was acceptable at that time. And you would just say to a person, well, don't worry, it'll age another 10 years and that'll integrate. And everyone was happy to say, oh yeah, that's great. I'll be age of 10 years. Now today, if you came into Stratus and it was an 85% new oak from 2023 or 2022, you'd say, what the hell is wrong with this winemaker? They don't believe in the terroir. Or they would throw their arms up in the air. But making wine like that really speaks a bit to the ageability that you do get when you're using really high quality French oak. JL being a master of French culture and winemaking, growing up in that area, he had a good idea. Even in the 80s, he was one of the first to be bringing French barrels over from cooperages that no one was ever imagining because he just already had that knowledge coming from France. So I was lucky myself to inherit, a lot of knowledge already that I could have never learned in the Niagara region, even if we're making wine another 100 years from now.
I would be so curious, Dean, to see the folder with the receipt from the equipment back in 2007 when you get a shipment of French like top-notch premium French oak barrel. How much it was back then? Because I was talking with Ted, one of our winemaker here, like his last shipment this year was at I think it was 1,850 per barrel. And he did it per barrel, and he was not even at the very top. I mean, in the days of 2008, 7, 8, 9, we were in 6-figure barrel purchases for a 10,000 case winery. So per year, we were dropping between $100,000 $200,000 on French oak barrels. It was crazy. It's crazy. And today, it's not like it's stopped much. Today, we buy amphoras. We buy a lot. We buy some new oak, but much larger. 1,500, 2,000 liter oak foods as we balance out. To the way the world is moving in terms of winemaking, which is really this terroir focus. But oak is never going to go away completely. It has an importance in our winemaking. It's just the way we use it today is it's like a different tool than it was certainly in the 70s and 80s, the 90s and 2000s, and that really
started to change over with definitely my generation of winemaking, where we started to step back and say, well, what other ways could we do this?
And I'm absolutely blown away. You said 85% new oak. Yeah, I'm blown away on that aspect. I would have never guessed
Yes.
that
Yeah.
amount. It's sick. Yes, beautiful layer of vanilla. And I guess like the spice who's developing right now the new oak has a lot to do about that. And we have a great comment here about the mouthfeel is luxurious. I
Yeah.
think it's absolutely bang on that.
Yeah, I definitely got the that creamy texture, mouthfeel. You get a little polyphenolics coming from oak that gives more to the wine, and if it's done with a really good oak barrel, it is what you get. You get this amazing mouthfeel down the line. 2012 again, it was pretty oaky back then, and some people love that, and that's perfectly fine.
I mean, the pendulum swang like a lot from one end to another, from the 80s all the way to the early 2000, or like even like more 2010, 2015, where oak was almost a sacrilege,
Yeah.
and now it's coming back a little bit, which I think makes me really happy because there's so many good things can happen with the proper usage of oak. And you guys have evolved too, because you went to a point where you were much more amphoras and this and that. Now you're bringing a little bit more of the bigger size oak in
Oak,
your
yeah, yeah, and that
winemaking
was always the
technique, right?
intention. The amphora was like we jumped in that back in 2019. I did a trip to Priorat in Spain in 2014. Came across a ton of really great wines, and they were really interested in amphoras and Priorat at that time. Again, that region of Spain, just think of Rioja and all these types of wines that really went 100% new oak, American oak. Their wines had really lost the sense of terroir in a major way in these parts of Spain. Like you weren't tasting the vineyard at all, in the 2000s or the 90s. So there was a big pushback from winemakers to try and go back to the original idea of winemaking. Amphoras made a lot of sense because they were really respecting the terroir in the vineyard. So I came back to Niagara. I was like, wow, that makes, Niagara, we have these really elegant wines. We're not California. We're not Bordeaux. We don't have a ton of heat, a ton of, big, bold structure and stuff like that. Maybe amphoras would work in our winemaking. Full well knowing, though, it's not like I was like going to say, one day we're just going to buy 100% amphoras and go away from oak, because there is this structure and texture and history. Oak has been in our winemaking philosophy in wine for 2,000 years now. So wine's been around 8,000 years. It was mostly all amphora or granite before that, and then it was oak for 2,000 years. That it's here to stay. It's not going to go anywhere. It's just more thinking about it, and it also has forced cooperages themselves to really innovate. It was simple to be a cooperage in the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Everybody wanted your oak because that's what the consumer demanded. It's what wine writers were writing about and giving good scores to. And suddenly it's like they got dropped like in a second. So they started innovating and looking at more consistency in their toasting, more consistency in their aging. So it helped drive up the quality of oak too, which again is great for winemakers, it's great for consumers, it's good for everyone when those kinds of things happen.
That man, thank you. It's so you're so pinpoint, so bang on. And now we're in the golden age of the Canadian winemaking right now. I mean, the level of skills that we have and the level of technology that we ever had is better than we ever had. I mean, and our wine showcase, and we have never understand our terroir as well as we do now. You combine all of these aspects, and boom, we have the golden age of winemaking in our country, and. And like, just like you mentioned, the quality of the equipment that you guys have, I think what it brings, it's balance. You can use oak, amphora, concrete, and all of that. So it's not a one-dimensional production facility, especially for you guys. You guys are working with all of these different vessels, and even sometimes blending them together.
Yeah, well, it goes to a term JL coined, diversity for complexity. And when he said that, it was about the vineyard: 16 varieties, glacial till soils, 48 blocks, different clones and rootstocks and different soil types out of our property. So we started out for diversity for complexity. But then, as I looked at our winemaking, I was like, well, the winemaking side is not super diverse. We have a lot of 225-liter barrels, all French. We have some stainless steel. And I thought, well, we could get a little bit more diversity for complexity: bigger barrels, 500-liter barrels, 1,500-liter foods, 2,000-liter foods, amphoras, clay, sandstone. So we started working on that idea, was that, hey, if we want to have so much complexity, you have to have a more vast toolbox. And so that's where it began. And now it's kind of like a playground because every day we're doing, I did last year Sangiovese in Amphora, and we did a Pinot Noir in Amphora, and that no one even knows is going to come out. So that's probably something I shouldn't say yet. But we did.
You haven't get fired yet.
Yeah, we do random things that we get to play around with and try new ideas. And the great thing is consumer sees all the ones that work. They never see the ones that don't work well because I don't even tell those stories. There's a lot of things that we do as a trial that we're like, that was interesting, but not super exciting. Didn't really work for us. So
we're intimate here tonight. Please give us a little hint about one. Okay, just a quick example. I think our member is going to have a blast about that. Do you have one top of mind that you say, okay, I can tell that one?
Well, I guess you could say maybe not around the aging, but around the art of assemblage. We have our trials label, which is for me like an innovation incubator. Our first one that we did, which I would say was not super successful, but we did it anyways, was a co-ferment of Riesling and Chardonnay, and that one's a tough one to do. It didn't really fly because you have a low acid sort of kind of medium acid grape with a super high acid grape, but you got to get it dry because Riesling's normally a bit off dry. So it was an interesting thing, but something I was like, I'm not sure we'll do this again for a little while. It's not really the best blend that makes a lot of sense for trying to do well. And you know what? I'm sure if we would have stuck to it and did another year, we'd probably have it perfect now, and everyone would say, "Oh, we love that Chardonnay Riesling blend." But I remember first tasting, and be like, "Whoa, this is zippy." Not really an elegant wine like what you have in the Stratus White there.
Okay, I appreciate that little sliver of the backstage.
We got so many, I tell you, it's like we have a I call it SIP, Stratus Innovative Wine Program, our SIP program, and it's a folder of all our trials and R&D, and it's it's 80 pages every year of trials and R&D that we do, and there's lots of things in there that are nonsense that we do that we're like, that wasn't. Right now it's fermenting in glass. That's a new kind of idea. Like demijohns that you saw. There's a couple companies out there that are making beautiful glass pieces, and so winemakers are interested in fermenting in like really tight, non-porous glass vessels again. So there's some kind of tidbit of something coming down the line one day maybe.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, okay, let's showcase what we have here in 2007 compared to the 2023 release of the white Stratus White.
Yeah.
In terms of winemaking technique and in oak usage or whatever you're using, can you compare both?
Yeah, I mean, certainly there's an evolutionary history to our story. Our idea when we're making wine at Stratus, we're always tasting and doing this art of assemblage. We're creating this wine. Like as an art piece. And the number one concept is we're always trying to make a better wine than we did the previous year. So you can see an evolutionary increase in quality always in Stratus. We're always striving to be better. We taste that when we do the 2023 art of assemblage. As we start to dial in this assemblage, we will throw in blind, a 22 and a 19 or a 22 and a 7 maybe, or whatever it is, blind. And the idea is that wine's got to be better than what we did before. And if it's, if we get to the 23 and we're like, it's just not what the 22 is. There's been years where we declassified. We didn't make a 2011 Stratus White. There's years where it's like, this isn't better than the previous year and the quality's just not there. So we can't make a Stratus White. We have to declassify or whatever the case may be. So that's the number one importance is this really slow evolution of increase in quality. And how do we do that? Well, one is we've learned our vineyard a lot better in the last 20 years. So we know where really great little parcels are in this 56 acres. We used to have one big block of Chardonnay, and that's been split really into 3 blocks of Chardonnay now because we know we have differences from soil testing and soil analysis we did, and then making the same block in 2 different tanks to compare, and then seeing big differences and saying, wow, we didn't know that we had 1 block of Chardonnay, but really we truly had 2 blocks of Chardonnay because the soil was so vastly different in that area. So that's really helped the difference that you compare of a new Stratus to an older Stratus like that. Obviously, we've talked about the oak. Now you would find some amphora in there, mostly neutral oak. There's no new oak generally in a Stratus White. And then in techniques of what we do in winemaking, back then we would do Chardonnay in 2007. We would do Chardonnay 8 hours on the skins. But then Burgundian style became popular in 2009. So from 2009 kind of till today, it's always whole cluster, very neutral, that kind of flinty, really, really fresh style Chardonnay. Until this year, I did a Chardonnay 24 hours on the skins because I started to think, what? That idea of Burgundian Chardonnay, I think is starting to flip a little bit, and people are looking for a little bit more substance, a little bit more structure in their Chardonnays because they've been drinking these more leaner, crisp, flinty style Chardonnays for so long. So I've been pushing a lot more of our whites like Sauvignon Blanc or Verschmeer to 24 hours as a cold soak on the skins to extract some more phenolic, some more flavor. So I said, let's try it with the Chardonnay. When you taste it blind, one of our nicest Chardonnays right now is this 24-hour on the skin. So it's not an orange wine by any stretch. It's not fermenting on the skins. It's just sitting there cold. There's a lot of flavor in the skins, and if you press directly, you lose that flavor. You're just getting the more fresher style coming out. If you leave that skins with the juice, you extract more flavor, more color. So you would see that in a current Stratus White, sort of changing too, that we're not, I do now maybe a little bit of whole cluster Chardonnay and a little bit of 24-hour on the skin Chardonnay blended together in the Stratus White. So when you really dial in the complexity of what this wine is, it's, we could sit here and I could talk to you all night about the nuances, because there's Sauvignon Blanc in a Stratus White, and there's not just one Sauvignon Blanc. There's probably 5 or 6 Sauvignon Blancs. There's Sauvignon Blanc Amphora, Sauvignon Blanc with 24-hour skin, Sauvignon Blanc with 8, 2 different clones of Sauvignon Blanc. That's all being blended into this wine in different proportions. So really, I can only tell you, it's about 14 weeks it takes of tasting to make an Art of Assemblage Stratus White and Stratus Red. And it gets so nuanced at the end that we start talking about 2%, 4%, and it's like you're
The
splitting
details. That's the
it's a very
small,
detailed
small,
wine.
small details.
Yeah, and that's what it is at professional winemaking. People always say what the difference of if you're a home winemaking or professional winemaking. I just say we make wine at a level if you're a home winemaker, you just couldn't comprehend until you would actually do it, and then you start saying, "Wow, the amount of data and evolution and investigation that we do to try and make better wine every year. It's a big investment. It's a lot of what we do is investing in trying to make all these better wines."
This wine is absolutely spectacular, and it keeps opening up right now. Oh my god, I love the spice, the explosion. Mira, I need your opinion. I need your professional opinion
Okay,
here.
it's really good. It's really good. I did not have scallops. Carl recommended to have it with scallops tonight.
Oh, we're losing Mira.
Yeah, we're
we
losing
didn't have
Mira.
Scallops. Tracy and Jim are saying it's so hard to find good scallops these days in the winter. Oh no, am I back?
No, you're coming back. You're coming back.
A little bit
now.
here and there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you're here. You're
Now
here.
you're here.
All right, sorry about that.
No, it's all good.
I was just saying I didn't have scallops, but I had a nice piece of sourdough that was toasted and drenched in butter, and it was so good with that wine. So no, I love it, and I love the story. It's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And Louise says
It's
they
a
have lots
versatile
on,
wine for that, at least.
Oh yeah, it could go with a lot of things. It's got backbone. It's fantastic. Not had scallops yet, but living on Vancouver Island. Oh no.
You're in a good spot for scallops, that's for sure.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Dean, I would love to, Mira, if you can gather a little bit of the comments that we've had in the last 20 minutes regarding the wine. Dean, let's talk a little bit about the 2025 vintage, because I'm hearing a lot of good comments coming from winemaker from Niagara-on-the-Lake, from Prince Edward County, from the bench. I mean, it seems unanimously been an outstanding vintage. A little bit like the 2020 in a sense. It's really hot and dry.
Yeah.
What's your assessment at Stratus for your farm?
Well, you know what? Winemakers were always rosy about the harvest because we have to be. But this one is particularly really nice. And I
usually say, can you please put your marketer and your marketing department spiel off, okay, on the side? Tell me as a winemaker.
It's starting to feel a bit like a broken record because we've had a good run in Niagara. 22, 23, 24, 25 have all been some absolutely, banging vintages. And it's nice because we had 2018 and 2021 so close to each other. Those were two really tough years. As a winemaker, you got to do so much work in the vineyard, so much work in the winery. And so when 2018 happened, you're like, oh, that's so annoying. I hate those kind of years. It's so much stress and everything. 2019 was a good year. 2020 was amazing. And then 2021 was like another 2018. You're like, how do we get tough years so close together? And now here we are after 2025. 22 was great. 23 was amazing. 24 was really good. And then 25 is like surpassed the last three, which is really, and that's not my marketer side speaking. It's like, how could we have done better than 24? We were saying in 24, how could we have done better than 23? So this year was really nice. The weather cooperated perfectly. It was whenever it rained, it was a big storm, a lot of rain all at once, usually at night, never during the day. The daytimes were sunny. We had a year that was warm, but not crazy hot. Like, there was days where we were in the high 20s, low 30s. That's good for winemaking these days. But never anything that was, super cool, and nothing that was going past 31 or 32 that was cooking, white wine characters and stuff like that. So a balanced year, and then another beautiful vintage. Really, in Niagara, what makes or breaks our year is the weather in October, somewhat September as well. But if you have a beautiful October, you generally have a beautiful vintage in Niagara. And, we didn't have a good October in 2021. 2018 was a challenge in October, but we've had 4 good Octobers now in the last 4 years. So we're all excited to have amazing wine after amazing wine for the next, as long as you guys can remember, for the next few years, you're going to be seeing really great wines out of Niagara.
Is there a rock star varietal coming out, you think? I know sometimes you need to wait a little longer, but with fermentation and like how it develops in barrel. But was there something like very cool coming up out of the vineyard? You say, I know this one is the freaking rock star of the vintage.
I really love the Sauvignon Blanc this year. I've never had aromatic Sauvignon Blanc, like the boxwood and the aromatic. Like, we do pretty well in Niagara, but this was at a level that I don't even like. Every person who I've snuck some to Suzanne, and I'm like, try this Sauvignon Blanc out of the M4, with no oak in the way. And they're like, whoa, this is like, I've never had such an intense wine. I hope that we'll be able to keep that, thiols, which are the compound that gives you that boxwood sort of cat pee thing that can be in Sauvignon Blanc. It's not easy to retain in a wine. It's also not easy to get. It's not easy to develop. You don't really know how much of that you got to do a lot of winemaking and vineyard work to retain that. So I hope it's retained when we go to bottle this wine. But right now, we did a tasting last week of the whites from 2025, as they're first getting into their cellar aging. And it's like, whoa, this is the craziest Sauvignon Blanc I've ever smelled. It's if we didn't do a good job and get it to the bottle and then to your glasses, you're going to be blown away by the 2025 Sauvignon Blancs coming out of Niagara.
I love that. Mira, what's the chat? Because the chat is going pretty nice tonight. I love that.
We had a bit of a side conversation around scallops. The couple people that had scallops with this wine tonight said it went really well. Jenny's saying she just got home, opened it, and it's lovely. What an interesting blend. Lots to unpack. I do have to say, I think I missed the part where you talked about the blend. What is the blend, more or less?
It's Sauvignon Blanc, Chardonnay, Semillon, Viognier, and Riesling.
Oh, wow. That's awesome. So the people who were guessing...
So Mira, Sauvignon Blanc 48 at 42.
Yeah, sorry, I lied. Not Viognier, it's Gewürztraminer in that one.
Oh, nice.
And dominant Sauvignon Blanc at 48%, Dean?
46% Sauvignon Blanc, 28% Chardonnay, 11% Semillon, 11% Gewürztraminer, which is a very high portion of Gewürztraminer. That's another thing you wouldn't really find in a Stratus White much anymore. And 4% Riesling.
The Stratus 2004 that we featured at a bag vintage dinner at the Vintage Conservatory 2 years ago, I think had something like 45% Gewürztraminer. And I remember you telling me like, Carl, that's not ever gonna happen again.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
So yeah. I love that. Listen, this is a 93 point wine to me. Obviously, I've never tasted it up on release in 2012, so I can't compare the evolution of the wine. And I really just score a wine without knowing what it was at the beginning. But geez, this is absolutely off the chart. 93 points, like I mentioned. Lots more to come. Like I mentioned with Dean earlier on, at least 3 more years, but I feel like there's a little bit more, which is on its own. We're dispelling the myth that Canadian wine cannot age. And one after another, I love that exercise to say, see, like this is the picture of what Canadian can do. This is amazing.
The good thing is you don't even need to know what it tastes like in 2012 because we can't go back to that anyways, right? So who knows or who cares what it was like in 2012? What matters is it's still good today.
Yes,
that's a very good point.
It's still good tomorrow.
Exactly. And Dean, we have to say a big thank you because you have hosted us at Stratus many times and been super generous with all your knowledge, but also touring us around. I mean, these guys know how to host a group, and I have learned so much from you, Dean, like in terms of all these different kinds of amphora that you have, all the different barrels that you have, the painstaking methodology that you use to select your different vessels. And yeah, I did not realize the amount of thoughtfulness and detail that goes into this. So we're so impressed, and it totally shows in your wines because the
Yeah,
wines are
well, I'm
spectacular.
glad you enjoy them, and I'm glad everyone, thanks for supporting our winery. We're always so happy to be part of Carl's Wine Club. You got a great membership, and it's great because it's Canada wide. That's the best thing. It's not like we're just talking about Toronto here, or or Ottawa or something. It's like all across Canada, which is the most exciting thing, because
Yeah,
Canadian wine is getting a
absolutely.
real spotlight right now. It's
And it deserves
we've,
it. It
we've been
deserves
really
it.
lucky the
Finally.
last year, how much consumers have embraced Canadian wine, not just in restaurants and the liquor stores, whatever province you live in, but from retail shops to online shops and wine clubs like yours. It's been probably the best year Canadian wine maybe ever had.
Wow, amazing. I totally think that it's well deserved, and I'm so happy to hear that.
Well, I mean,
Joanne,
with people like you and JL and Suzanne, like you guys as a team are absolutely world class. And there's like more and more. We visit winery, we do stuff more and more with like specific wineries, and like the quality of people that we're working with, it's just so good, and we're so excited for what's coming up in the future. So, Dean, man, happy
thank
holidays.
you.
Thank you for being
Yeah,
here. It's
happy
so
holidays.
freaking
Thank you.
nice,
Thanks for
man. I
having
really
me.
appreciate
Love
that.
the hat. Thank you everyone for coming
Yeah.
on, and thanks for sharing your amazing meals that you were having with the wine too. I guess I'll have to go out there and get some scallops and make a little pairing myself.
Yeah, and someone else was saying the mushroom. Lisa had a mushroom pasta that also sounds amazing. Thank you so much, Jean. We're
Thank
so
you.
thrilled. I hope you have a fabulous Christmas and Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year.
Great. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks so
See you
much.
guys.
We'll see
Take
you in the
care.
playoff if we make it
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, you guys are looking pretty close, actually. I'm going to say
Oh,
you're only one game
yeah.
back, so I don't know. I hope you
I
guys.
know.
We don't
I
need that
know.
kind of stress in my life.
Well, hey, we kicked the Bengals out, so now we can move on onto something else.
The
So,
Bills.
hey, I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much.
Thanks. See you guys.
Thank you. That's amazing.
How's your
So
glass? I
cool.
wonder now. It's time to show your glass, Mira. It's that
There's
time.
nothing left in my
There
glass.
you
I
go.
told you I had this hunk of bread. We had a nice soup for dinner, and I had this hunk of bread left, and it was drenched in this Amish butter that I like. It's like very
Send
buttery.
send a runner up here. Send a runner up here.
Nah, it's okay. I'm starting to get a little sick, so I got my tea here.
Oh, there you go. There you
My
go. Oh man,
third glass
that
of
like
the
the
night. This might
legs,
be
the
a third.
legs are just like so
Mm,
beautiful.
mm.
This is awesome. So what I want to know, the chat is going awesome tonight. I really like that. So 93 points. I want to hear your and I want to read your assessment.
Yeah,
Now
well, people have
it's
shared.
time it's time to judge Carl's score. I think we need to have a segment on these 12 days every day. It's time to judge Carl's score.
Yeah,
So I want to know what you guys
other
think of my
people talk.
93 points.
For your scores as well. Hey, that's a good point. And while people are thinking about that, Lisa is asking, are we able to order more of the 2007 Stratus White? I do believe they have a couple cases set aside for us if members want some more. Yeah.
Yes, we had
So
that
the
chat
way
with
this will
Suzanne.
work, because some of these are in very small quantities and just not available anywhere. We will send a list out to the people that got an advent calendar first to see if you want to put dibs on a few bottles of this, a few of that, and then if there's any left after that, we'll send it to other members who are interested. So Jim's here saying 93 sounds about right. Very nice. That's awesome.
Thank you, Jim. Thank
Jared's
you,
giving
Jim.
it a 94 plus. I tend to agree.
Whoa.
Like, I would rate that one a bit higher than you, Carl. Like, I really like it. I love Sauvignon Blanc too, so that's maybe why. Yeah, 93 might be a little light. Ah, Jenny just saw the vintage. Yeah, that's so crazy, right?
And the crazy thing about that, it's not obvious. It's not the obvious. You're like, whoa, like you taste it. You have the first. Well, first I have the color is giving me a hint, right? That golden color giving me a hint of age. But when I smell it and when I taste it, that doesn't show, I'm sorry, 17 or 18 years of age. That doesn't at all. Like, not even close. And like Gene was telling earlier, he blind tasted a few different people in the last couple of weeks, and people will say, oh, 2018, is it 2017? And it's kind of like not laughable, but you're like, holy shit. No, 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 no. Go back 10.
2007. It's older than our oldest son. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, this is. I agree with the florality. Yes, I got the beautiful floral nose. I got like some marmalade. There's some marmalade into that. Some sweet, um, sweet, almost grilled grapefruit. It's not that I eat grapefruit, grilled grapefruit anytime, but I can picture if I put a grapefruit open up into on the grill, like something like that. There's cardamom, vanilla, creme brulee. I definitely got some like grapefruit creme brulee. Yeah, the spice to me, cinnamon, cardamom, white pepper. Yeah, the creme brulee is one of my favorite component. The mid palate is beautiful. The acid still right up there, lifting the whole thing.
yeah, it's still
Fantastic
going.
wine, so
Daryl
well
saying
balanced.
he rates the nose higher than the palate, and I think that's partly to do that they tried to pair it with creme brulee, and apparently that pairing didn't go as well as planned. That happens sometimes. But yeah, I agree. The nose is incredible, Daryl. And Sarah,
Mira, did
Lisa,
you heard about the oak?
you guys were saying something about new oak, right? Or what?
85%.
How much?
85% new oak.
Oh
I
my
know,
god.
right?
That's
I
part of why
know.
it aged so well, probably, right?
I know, right?
Oh, you
So
didn't
I
pair it. Okay. So he's just not as big a fan of the palate as the nose. I totally get it. It's a very
I
compelling
so
nose.
love the second half of that wine to me. Like, oh, I love from mid to the finish. I really freaking love the layering of it. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Peach and marmalade. I totally get the marmalade. Like it's got this kind of like very orange marmalade type of hint to it.
Yeah.
Stacy and Jeff say they chill the wine too much. It's opening up as the night goes on. Yeah, that's why sometimes we're nerdy. Like we just drink our wines room temperature or cellar temperature, even if they're white, because we like to see what it does with the. Yeah, often like if it's a really great white wine, I find it you lose half the flavors if you chill it too much. But I'm glad it's starting to open up a little bit. 15% short, Daryl says, with the 85% new oak. That's awesome.
I love it. I mean, that dispelling the myth of Canadian wine cannot age. I mean, this is right here, textbook example of holy smokes. So much fun, so good, and so well balanced. Now, I mean, you see what happened with the cork. I mean, it's not something like unusual. That's the one of the trade-off of having access to 18 years old wines, right? So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'm just going through the comments, seeing if I missed anyone. If anyone wants to be entered in the nightly prize draw, do leave a note. I think I've got everyone except for Jim, the new Jim. We have a few Jims in the club.
few gins, many gins, a
Jim
couple
Soda. Okay,
beans.
Jim Soda, I'm adding you to the draw, the prize draw. So far, Daryl's favorite out of the four is Noble Ridge. The one remains number one.
Awesome, and still the highest, my highest rated wine. Daryl, by definition, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. These are close. Like these wines are very close from each other. I would say especially this one and the one. Very very close to my personal opinion on the score. But yeah, I agree with you. Like it's still the one. Fantastic, beautifully put together champagne method. 78% Chardonnay, 22% Pinot. Very classic, lots of finesse. So, Mira, we need to find a one-word definition of
Oh,
not
yeah.
definition, but like the
Your one
snapshot.
word of the night. Your one
Yeah,
word
yeah, yeah, yeah,
wine.
yeah.
For me, it is cheese. Juicy. Juicy. I don't know. What's your word?
That's I was about to say aged, but I mean like it's just like too easy to just put it that way, right? I think it's balance.
Yeah.
I think it's balance to me. Yeah, because now the oak at 85% come like that. That's what aging do, right? Bring everything into equilibrium, everything in balance. And yeah, I mean this is a yeah, that's my word for tonight, balance.
Balance. Daryl saying broken, I think referring to the cork, which it's a great problem to have if you have a broken cork, because usually it means you have a nice back vintage like this. I like Noble One and this one, says Sandy. Awesome. And Lisa saying that their favorite so far was or Cab Franc for us, says Stacy and Jeff. Lisa loved the Cab Franc as well. And Jim is lucky enough to hang out with the average wine enthusiast tonight. So he gets to taste this wine as well, which is awesome. Jared and Lisa, not as big fans of the first one, but his one word is tropical vacation. I agree. That is one word. It's a good one. No, it's true. There's this kind of like tropical.
Yeah, yeah. I think the underlayer of maybe almost like pineapple will comes
Yeah,
up because I have creme brulee, I have grapefruit to kid like to me that's the acid level that comes from the grapefruit, and yeah, underneath a little bit of tropical. I get it, and I would say maybe the pineapple.
that's awesome. Yes. All right. So let's do a quick draw for the Enovino versus chocolates versus a club t-shirt from our touring days.
Oh, by the way, I want to say that I have the Malbec open from last night. So
Oh,
if
yes.
anyone
Oh,
had a little bit wine saved from the previous night, the Mira, be careful. The ME,
yeah.
it's something that we can talk about. We cannot talk about it. It's something coming up next in the next couple days. So
Oh, okay. So this is
okay, that's
both the
one was
same
from
vintage,
one of
right?
my pre-recorded interview that I did today.
Okay.
So
Okay.
but the ME,
Jenny's
the
not sure what we
MA.
mean about saving the wine. Neither does Stacy and Jeff know what you're talking about with that. I know. Leftover wine? Like what is that, right? All
I
right. So
mean,
these are both the same vintage, but one is coming up in a few days and one was the Malbec from last night, right?
okay, so now we're just saying that we have another 2018 coming up. I already mentioned that yesterday, so yeah.
There you go. Okay. I think that one was the Malbec I just tasted.
The blue
Ooh,
fruit, yeah.
they're so different. Yeah. Both
The blue
2018.
fruit. I think the Malbec at this stage now has lost of his grip, has lost of his acidity, and you'll see the other one that we can't really talk about. Much grippier, much more structured. That's why in my assessment yesterday was that Malbec is much more ready to drink now, and the next 2018 that we're gonna taste later on this week or next week is much more structured.
It's very interesting because yeah, the 2018 that's coming up, it just feels like such a baby
Yeah, I know, right? I know that is
compared to the
that's
Malbec,
really
which yeah,
cool.
it's like perfectly rounded and like it's great right now. So
Yeah, and like today now day two, it's like yeah, has lost of his acidity definitely. So
awesome.
and
Hey,
it turned into
quick
blue, like into blue jam, like more jammy blue fruit.
for tomorrow's wine, will blue cheese go with it?
Tomorrow, blue
I'm gonna pull
cheese.
up what I've
Yeah.
forgotten what tomorrow's wine is. myself.
We're hosting someone at home, Mira. So just to remind you, who you remember?
That's not tomorrow, isn't that Friday?
No, it's tomorrow. Wine number 5.
Okay, wine number 5. No need to chill. Cellar temperature. Pairing suggestions: steak bites with sea salt and black pepper. Will blue cheese go with it?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No worry.
It's
Yeah,
a wine with a backbone, isn't it?
it's a wine with the backbone. It's a
And
wine with the backbone.
too. It's younger
Okay.
too. It's a younger wine too.
Yes. So there's your hand for tomorrow. Mira just said it. It's a younger wine.
But
Definitely.
we have something pretty cool planned, which I think I can share without spoiling anything, which is, the winery person is going to be stopping by right at our house here to interview with us live, because it just happens to work out. So that's a pretty big hint, I guess. We're going back to BC. But also, we are going to open some back vintage of the same wine to have with the one that you guys all have. So it's going to be pretty interesting. Tannin.
Yes, and yes, decanting. If you guys have a decanter, throw that in the decanter, and doesn't have to be gentle with the decanter. You can flip the bottle upside down in your decanter and let it still like go ahead. It's a little baby. In my score, I did some projection, and I have to say this is one of the wine who's going into my top 10 wine of the year. So
there's
yeah,
a few of these top 10s in this lineup.
yeah,
so
there's another one coming up later on, but tomorrow there's one who's going in my top 10 wine of the year. So really cool.
There you go. There you go. Well, this has been fun, you guys. Let's pull up the prize draw. And Lisa has some good guesses, but it's a no and a no.
It's a no and a no. It's a no and a no.
Guesses. Good guesses. All right. Let's go. This is for the nightly door prize. I am going to have to get some different prizes. Hopefully the person coming tomorrow brings us some new prizes. But these are all great prizes. An Ovino or carrot chocolates or club t-shirt. Oh, that's so close. Sandy! That's awesome! Congratulations, Sandy. So we'll have to send you a note later, unless you know now, if you would prefer the carrot chocolates, which you've had before, or the Enovino, which you can never have enough of, or a club t-shirt, which I think you were on that tour. You already have that t-shirt too. So I think you're well stocked, but now these are things you can't have enough of, right? So it's kind of fun. Yay. Congrats, Sandy. And I hear that Stacy's baking, Christmas baking, went really well with the 2007 Stratus White. So that might be a hint for Sandy and Daryl as well, because I know that Sandy does some incredible baking.
I can see that well with macaroon. I can
Madeleine.
definitely, Madeleine. Yeah. That little lemon Madeleine would be fantastic with that. And let us know, Mira, how do we want to do that? Should I enter that in the Shopify and just put, I can put the link?
So what we're going to do, as I mentioned earlier, like some of these are in small amounts. So I think we'll start a sort of secret link. So anyone who is following along here, I can drop that link in and you guys can start pre-ordering. And then if there's any of the really small supply ones left at the end of the 12 days, we can send it to other members as well. Because we'll do sort of a secret link. So
by the way,
12 bottles of something, then you guys get first pick.
And everyone here tonight, I want to mention I finalized the selection for the Taster Club, our new little group that we have once a month. It was our next one will be on Thursday, January the 15th with Richard De Silva. I have the 3-pack selected, and whenever you guys are ready, you can order your 3 pack for the January 15. Why we're so ahead of the curve right now? It's because we're monitoring the temperature, the weather across the country. So we
Yeah,
will.
some of these might take a little longer because we're going to look for a good window. Even with ATS, which is technically temperature controlled, we still get issues sometimes because they use third parties in some places. So we want to be careful. We're actually not even featuring another winery until then.
Yeah.
So we get a few weeks where, sure, if you're VIP Unlimited, we can source you some wines and get them out priority courier or overnight or something. But otherwise, we want to take it easy with these wines. We don't want any freezing.
And by the way, if anyone would like another advent calendar just to put in the cellar because you like the selection, we have two. We have two wrapped. They're there. They're in the. They're so yeah. Let
I
us
think there's
know.
one, and there was one we were holding back because one member had theirs go missing for like 4 days, and they found it today. The post office had it just behind the counter there. So yeah, good.
Yeah, but I have the 3 packs for De Silva ready to go. The link can go out, and you guys, it's $148 all in with tax for the 3 bottles. Two two bottles were not available. Like the 2023 Pinot Noir has not been released at all. This is something that Richard that bottled 6 months ago, and it's not for the market yet. The 2023 Chenin Blanc, some of you already tasted it, but the thing is that wine is on these last 5 cases, and there won't be any of the hidden hollow Chenin Blanc for the foreseeable future because the vineyard got damaged. So this is the last of the Chenin Blanc 2023. We got it in the 3 pack, and there's also the brand new 2022 Cap Franc. And I have a hint, and I think that Daryl will like that. 60% new oak in that brand new 2022 Cap Franc. So these three wines are going to be in the tasting pack. I'm going to see Richard again tomorrow to select 6 library wines that I'm going to taste. And we're going to talk later after our conversation with Richard. It's going to be some surprise wine and all that. So you guys are going to be just a little bit like we did with Keith, adding some library stuff that we can talk during our chat. There's going to be some single vineyard Syrah, some single vineyard Cap Sauv, and maybe some older Viognier as well. So there's some fun stuff that I'm going to put together with Richard tomorrow, and I'm going to have lots of surprise. So that tasting club that we've started with Keith Dyer in November is just growing a little bit. And like if there's people like Alain and Joanne who are interested and want to join, people like I don't know, Simon in Montreal, like we have like some very key members being following.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep that club fairly small, but yeah.
So some people joined even if they didn't have the 3 pack, because sometimes you have those wines in your cellar, or you're just curious and you want to get to know that winery and that winemaker. And then other people bought the 3 pack and opened it, which is also really fun because people are talking about their experiences with those wines, and we get the backstory. And then the cool thing is, if you spend that much time in a Zoom with a winemaker, they sometimes open up their sort of private stash of back vintages. So that's exactly what happened with Keith. We got access to some verticals and back vintages, and Richard and Carl are meeting tomorrow because Richard has gone through some of his private cellar collection there to give us some very limited, very special releases and tell us about them. So we won't know that till like closer to or at the January 15th tasting. But in the meantime, if you get your 3 pack, it's just a fun thing to do on a January Thursday night.
That's it, exactly. And that group, like for the people who were in with Keith Dyer at Clausen Chase in November, it was an incredible 2 hours, fantastic conversation. I mean, it's different than the StreamYard Live because we're all talking and people are asking questions, and like if things are opening up and there's just like a little bit more swears and then a little bit more PG 16 conversations. So it's really awesome. So we're going to duplicate that every month now, that little tasting club. And yeah, that's about it, I guess. Mira, how do you feel? Is your cold still punching you in the gut or?
Yeah, I'm gonna go take an oil of oregano, and see if I can dodge this. It's like my throat is on fire. It's horrible.
I'm so
But
sorry.
not as bad as you last week in a snowstorm in Quebec with a stomach flu. That's always fun.
I guess. Yeah. I think I
Yeah,
was
Dale.
allergic to the snowstorm. That's what happened to me. I was allergic to this, to the cold.
Yeah, yeah. But you're back in the Okanagan now where it's nice and rainy.
Yeah,
Great to
exactly,
see you
right?
guys. You have a great night. Joanne, I meant to email you. Thank you for finding those leads on Chateau in Burgundy. That is getting wrapped up. Carl's been on the phone at like 5 a.m. for a few days now trying to wrap up our Burgundy and Paris details, and it's coming along.
The Paris lead that we got and the conversation I had this morning looks pretty promising. So yeah, some more details coming very soon, and
Very exciting.
starting to work on maybe the trip number two already with
Yes.
some ideas about Italy. So yeah.
Yeah, we want to hear from you. We sent an email earlier today to a lot of people saying, "Hey, if you couldn't join us for Burgundy, where should we go next?" So we want to hear from you. And I have to say, with Madeleine's, we said Madeleine's might be a good pairing with this 2007 Stratus White. One of the hotels that we looked at for Paris said that every morning they bring you fresh made Madeleine's, still warm, with your coffee at the door. So I was like, oh man, I just can't wait for this. It's going to be so fun. So great to see you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us and unwrapping these amazing Canadian wines with us. It's been so fun. Thank you.
Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members. See you tomorrow.
Cheers.